Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with retired physiotherapist, current entrepreneur, and team leader, Karalee Greer. And we're here today to ask her, some of the tips and things that she does to keep her team motivated, especially through times of crisis, that everybody keeps moving towards the common goal. So let's welcome Karalee to the show. And how are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Michael, for inviting me. I'm doing quite well, and I'm fortunate because I'm used to working at home. I haven't had a huge adjustment, but I know many people have had to adjust to bringing their office into their own bedroom or living room and making it work.
Yeah, I will admit it is a bit of adjustment, bringing the studio back into the house instead of actually driving over to Burnaby, and of course I do miss our partners Kinetics Media over there, with Paula and everything, but we had decided to close up the studio over there in Burnaby just before this actually happened. So we were already getting used to it and setting up stuff just before this happened. So, but we'll all get around this, right? And that's part of the thing. We're moving towards that goal to be able to have it's going to be a new normal, but a definitely normality to our lives. So so let's get into it. What some tips that you have for team leaders and entrepreneurs to keep their team moving towards that goal?
Okay, so to try to keep everybody motivated, because sometimes it's even hard just to get out of bed and just shuffle a few feet and then that's your office. A lot of it is the same relationship. I believe a lot in relationships. So people that you work with, whether you see them on Zoom or face to face or not, it's the relationship that you have with people working with you, as well as in business you're selling. So you're still trying to build relationships with people that you're selling to. And on both ends, we're really trying to solve a problem. So people working with you, why do they want the job with you? And it's to solve their problems. A lot of it is just literally to pay their bills or get out of debt. And for some people, they want to build up a big business on their own so they can give back to society or help their own family in this time as well. So for me, it's always a pleasure to work with people that are self-motivated, because you don't need to really encourage them to just get up and do the work that they need to do to get their commission paycheck or get their job done. So it's always easier when people are self-motivated, but if you need that extra little push, then you need to work more on having those beginning of the week meetings, end of the week meetings, setting goals that you can do every day. And some people need encouragement and other people don't. So that's where you need to know people and how they work, so that if somebody really wants acknowledgement that they did their 50 phone calls that week and got 5 sales, that's huge, and that should be acknowledged with your team, and that is one way to really keep people motivated, because they can see that the system in place is still working. Not the whole world hasn't fallen apart if you can keep up with the process within your company.
Wow, okay. You're already drawing a picture of a fantastic team, in the fact that one out of every 10 phone calls that they make, they produce a sale. Now that's amazing stuff in and of itself.
That was just what I pulled out of the air. Not everybody's going to do that, but you want to get to your end goal, and some people can do it in fewer phone calls just because they have done a lot of self-development along the way, and they're a bit more confident. Mm-hmm. They've been in the job longer. They might have more contacts. There's a lot of different reasons go in where you get the end sale, but that's one of your goals, is try to get what you can do for that week.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So set a goal just for the week.
I think it's really good to set, especially this time when we're at home, that you can have a Zoom meeting with your team, whether it's a home-based business or whether it's a traditional office business. You can still get on Zoom and have your team meetings almost like you would normally do, and have one at, say, Monday morning. What do we want to get achieved this week? And the duties might be a bit different, especially if you're in the retail market. You're not going to be able to go in the store and sell your clothes or sell your coffee, or restaurants and that sort of thing. But you still need to try to figure out what the problems are now, and when we can get back to business. What do you have to have in place? So there's a whole lot of readjustments doing, but you need those team meetings to see what the problems are. Like, we all have new problems now, and how can we solve those? And then set goals for that week, and you're going to have a goal for the month as well, and maybe mid-month. So just something to work towards, because I think if you're at home and you don't see where you're going, you're sort of lost. Like, you walk around the house and pet the dogs and have your coffee, and like, what do I do?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was tip number 2 be?
The tip number 2, I probably did a couple together there with relationships and then setting goals, and a lot of it with working with a company is why that company itself needs to fit with your own ethics, and the leaders and the managers and the CEOs of your company do they fit with your integrity and your own ethics, and what's your company vision? And so if you can see where the company's going and they're managing during this pandemic, you can still put your heart and soul into building your business or getting your work done with the company as well. So the company itself is an important part of the energy and the time that you're going to put into your job or building up your own business. So that would be number 3, and the work process itself. Every company does have a process that needs to be done, whether you're selling cars or selling coffee or in a warehousing situation or working from home. So people need to know the process. So again, if you've changed office space, you might just need to go back to basics for a bit and just say, what is the process, so you can get yourself set up at home. And a lot of times with business, it is the fear of rejection, making all your phone calls, and you don't know what they're going to be mindset during this time here. So even making those calls can be a bit different than it was 2 months ago. So you need to, keep your feet, not too much cold feet, and just get out there and do things that you were doing before, and again, it comes back to the relationship. If you know people or getting to know people, you'll see what their new problems are and how you can help them with your business. So I'll let you talk for a second there, Michael.
Okay. All right. So, it sounds like so far a lot of the tips are really around keeping keeping people motivated with the goal setting and building up rapport and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure,
it sounds like that's really really important, especially for your team.
It certainly is, and the process in getting the job done is the big thing. So, especially if you work at home, you don't have a 9 to 5 per se, and some people are more open to phone calls at in the evenings versus the morning. So you need to regulate your schedule, and if you work from home, that might not be changing a lot from what it used to be.
Yeah.
But also a lot of it is keep on with your self-development, because a lot of people do have in business, whether it's at home or out in the traditional business, is the fear of rejection. So, and a lot of companies are doing a lot of work now on self-development, and a lot of it can come from sort of what I call sort of hardcore business type books that might be from like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Man, Poor Man, or Eric Worre's whole Go Pro, or Harvey Ecker's Their Secrets of a Millionaire's Mind. There's tons and tons of books, Holton Bud's with the Cash Cow, hardcore business selling itself, or a lot of books you can read. But what I really found myself going through this whole process, people are really, they want to know the process, down to the science of stuff, versus other people are just emotionally connected to the product they sell. Or so the people that are more emotionally connected, like myself, I like to read people like Brené Brown, that with her Braving the Wilderness and Daring to Lead, and Eckhart Tolle's just with his like New Earth, just way of being present in the moment, and Wayne Dyer and Mel Robbins with her 5-second rule, and Oprah Winfrey, and those people I really resonate with too. And it doesn't matter if you're coming from the business hardcore type books or the more emotional ones. I think the end result is really to get to a place of inner peace, so that when you go out and you do your work, because we're all in sales to some point, and people are always going to say no, and you probably get a lot fewer yeses than no's. So just being okay with people saying no. I think that's really where a lot of the self-development comes from. So as a team, you can still do that as well. The team I'm with, we actually go through a book, a chapter each week, and we talk about that chapter and get into a lot of different ways that we all look at the same problem from a different angle. And that's I'm finding one way to really, really get to know your team as well. Is just go through a book together, and their answers to different questions that come up will let you know how their mind thinks, and so you can help them when they have problems doing their business. You have an idea of how they think, and you might be able to help them overcome some of the things that are stopping them doing the best they can do.
Right. So what you feed your mind and your psyche with is also important.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think sometimes that is really the difference between being successful and not as successful is just the way you look at life. And with that comes a balance. Like some people do nothing but work, and they're on the phone, 12 hours a day, and they don't see the kids or their partners or socialize. Mind you, we can't get out and socialize right now anyways, but they don't have a balance of spending time with the family, spending time on yourself. A lot of the self-development is really, whether it's reading a book and also learning to meditate, or I take my dogs out for a walk and I do a walking meditation. I really try to stay present for that whole 20 minutes 3 times a day, and it just does make a huge difference the way that you can react to things that happen in your life. So you have to have that balance as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Balance is really good. You could see. Would you say that you could just get stuck in, if you're always working, you just can get stuck and just start spinning your wheels, and then
and you can be much less productive.
Yeah.
Because you get upset at yourself because you're spending all this time, you're not getting the results, and so it can be a negative instead of a positive. So that's where your team meetings come in, and especially if you do like even these book reviews that our team does, or the Zooms that you do, is you can start answering questions for people. It needs to be a safe place. And then people can open up, and hopefully you can help them get that balance.
Right.
Because you can be, if you're a lot more confident in yourself and emotionally knowing where you're going, you can be a lot more productive in less time. It doesn't have to take 10 hours to get the same results as it might only take you 5 hours.
Mm-hmm. So should we hurry the process, or just let the process kind of carry itself along in that situation?
Well, I think if you're actually connecting with your team on a weekly basis, and some people might only need a weekly basis. Other people, that might be struggling, need a bit more help. You might be on a call with them individually every day. 15, 20 minutes, and that'll help them through. So I don't think you just let it go along its own. You do have a process in place and make sure people are able to do the work that they want to do, right? And that's where it comes. People are self-motivated, and people that aren't self-motivated, you're going to get more productivity from people that see the vision of where they want to go, what's their why, what's the company's vision? Can I help the company get there? Because it's going to help the company. It's going to help me as well. And so the people that can see the whole picture, they're more than likely able to reach their goal. They might actually be the ones that overwork a bit too and don't have the life balance. And so sometimes it's just if they get to the point where they're spinning their wheels too, it might be because they are spending too much time.
Right. So, spending too much time it can have the reverse effect to what you want. So that's where the real balance comes in, to make sure that you're putting just enough effort into it.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you're starting out and you're just building, especially if it's a home-based business and you're building up your own business, you might need to dedicate a lot of time initially on building up your team and getting things going. And then as things are coming together, and that might take a number of months, then you can regulate a bit more and don't have to be quite as intense. Mm-hmm. And you can let other leaders that come along in your team do their work as well and lead their team.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
you don't have to do it all.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So also, we want to, when we're the team leader, we want to take that stance of service to the rest of our team, rather than I'm the team leader and you have to do what I say, sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely. You want to guide and be there and provide information that people can go, I can't read a book for somebody. They have to go and read their own book, but we can talk about it, or we could talk about processes, but then they need to go and work the process and get comfortable with it. And people that do that are going to be more successful than the people that don't. And I guess as being a leader as well, you recognize as you get to know people, that's the whole relationship with, again, the people that aren't going to do that, you can't take it personally either. So that's part of the leader's personal growth as well. You just need people that are willing to do the work, and the ones that aren't, you can't do the work for them.
Wow. That is very, very important, recognizing those who are willing to do the work, and versus those who don't want to put the effort into it, right? Mm-hmm.
And you'll help those people along for sure, but it'll get to a point if there isn't any work coming from them that you can't make somebody motivated that's not motivated. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it's recognizing, but the people that really want to do a business, it's fun. For me, business needs to be fun, and if you can see people grow and change and make a difference in their life and difference in people on their team's life, that's what the fun part is for me. I like to help people that want to help themselves. That's really one of my philosophies. And that's when it's fun, and life's meant to be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
If we're at home in pandemic.
Yeah. Well, we still have to find that time to giggle and laugh and all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's important. Important therapy, right?
Oh, for sure. And we're all in the same boat in this pandemic, so we're all having a lot of the same issues of how do we keep our businesses afloat? What do we do when all this is over? So it is really a team work at this point in time, even globally, not just from my own personal team. Is everybody look at our health advisors? They need to try to work with what's happening in our community at a provincial level, at a federal level, at a global level. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Maybe that. Do you think that could be one of the big lessons for as we leave some of the restrictions of social distancing and things like that are relaxed, that could be one of the big lessons that we all just need to learn to work together.
To work together, and same with business, you need to respect people in our business, but we also need to, as we get more socially closer, we need to also respect I think the knowledge of our medical community. Because I think a lot of us are getting antsy. We want to get out of the house. We're actually lucky in Vancouver here because we're allowed to get out of the house and walk around and do things. So we have to still be very cautious and listen to the people that understand the situation from a medical point of view more than, the average person walking around. So, yeah, so it's leading but not leaping. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. It sounds like you have a great team on that you work with, and
yeah, I really enjoy the communication that we have is definitely very consistent. I think the consistency is important. So you get onto a regular schedule, and with these type of businesses, if you are building your own business, and some people have more than one business, they might still have a traditional business that they are going to be going back to, and then a home-based business. So you just need, on your own schedule, I can dedicate 2 hours a day, I can dedicate 4 hours a day, and then try to be on some sort of schedule. I think we tend to get out of whack a bit more for our schedules, helter-skelter, like I'll do half an hour here and then go off and do something and chase the shiny ball, as they sort of say, and then come back and try to concentrate again. So if you can set yourself actually a daily routine, it helps a lot.
Right. Cool. So thanks for sharing all of your wisdom today around building a team and keeping a team going, because I know you said something important about a lot of people need to have the regular going where they report to whatever the corporate office or store is, and they also need to have their home-based thing also in order to keep all the bills paid. It's just how things are now, right? So
yeah, we all have bills for sure.
Yeah. So you said some really important things about that. To try to balance those out so that you have a great life and you can live the dream, right?
Yes. If you're with the right company and you have the right attitude and you're open to learning and following and become a leader yourself, you can do very, very well.
Yeah. Great. So thanks for all your tips today. It's like I'm sure they're going to help a bunch of people during this time.
Well, Well, thank you too, Michael.
Yeah, and I look forward to talking to you again later.
You bet.
Okay. All right.
All right, bye for now.
Bye.
And I looked up at a shooting star, and then I wondered who you are. I just need to know. So I wish upon that shooting star, and then I wondered where you are. Is it destiny, or is it meant to be? Something we cannot hide. Help us to And I looked up at that shooting star, and then I wondered who you are. I don't know your name, so I wish upon that shooting star, wondering if you feel the same. Is this destiny, or is it meant to be? Take me like a little child in your arms. We can drift away to another world.
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.